Hello, Cosmic Witches. Welcome back to another episode of the Divine Gossip Girls podcast with your hosts, me, Maggie, Carly, and Sophie. Today, I really wanted to talk about the idea of passive healing in your spiritual and healing journey. Passive healing, I really believe in, and is a big thing that I love to talk about because so much of the time we just want to go, figure out what do we need to do? What's my next steps? How do I fix this? How do I heal? When sometimes we just have to let our energy and our body do its thing and trust that everything is falling into place exactly where it's meant to be. So I do past life regression, and we'll dive into this a lot more in the episode, but I do past life regression. Carly does Reiki. Sophie uses somatic healing with just moving the body and opening up and releasing energy, and all of these things. While you have to show up and do the practice, there's a lot of trust and belief that by showing up and taking part in this practice, in this session, that you are already doing enough, that your body is doing the rest, that your energy is doing the rest with releasing, with shifting, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So we just thought we would talk about the power of this passive healing where you show up for that session, for that energy, for whatever it is that you're doing, and your body does the rest. You don't have to worry about what the next thing is you need to do because you've done enough, and now you get to see everything fall into place. And I think there's nothing more powerful than that. So I cannot wait to really get into this with the girls and talk about how you can heal passively, what that means, and examples of it in our own practices and in our own lives. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into today's channeled chat. Hey Cosmic Witches! Divine Gossip Girls here, your one and only source into the spiritual happenings of the cosmos.
Ever wonder what this month's energy will have in store for you? What the planets and stars are even up to? Or if the universe can just help you catch a break already?
Well, lucky you, because we have all the spiritual secrets to tell. Get ready to sip on your weekly dose of divine tea.
So to start it off, I'll just talk about my sort of experience with passive healing, and that is through past life regression. So I am certified as a past life regression practitioner. So I have the training and the certification to bring people through into their past life memories. And a lot of the times people come out of these sessions and they say, what do I do next? What do I do with this information? And I'm like, just sit with it. And I think sometimes people are like, what do you mean just sit with it? And it's like, your body knows what to do. You've just unlocked all of these memories and everything needs to shift into place, and you will heal from it. You will release from it. Your body has been holding on to that energy literally for lifetimes. And just by tapping into it and allowing it to come through today, you have already done so much healing. Healing doesn't always have to be active. Sometimes by just tapping into things and passively allowing your energy to do what it needs to do, it allows things to click into place.
And I feel like what was coming through for me is what I loved what you said, like the body knows what it wants to do. And like I have obviously been doing a lot of somatic healing and guiding clients through that and learning more about the somatic body. And like you said, like the body is so wise, like it knows exactly what to do, and it's holding everything. And I think sometimes this whole like, I gotta keep healing, I gotta keep peeling back the layers, I gotta keep I can't say that word, but
Intellectualizing?
I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. Intellectualizing. I can't say it. Intellectualizing. I can't say it, but you know what I mean. What like the fear is, or what the wound is, or like whatever is came up. And I feel like that comes from this like wounded masculine hustle place of feeling like you have to, even in your healing journey, do, peel, 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 heal, heal, heal. And actually, like when you can come out of the mind and when you go through like a passive regression or a Reiki or whatever kind of practice it is, allow the body to do its thing, allow the body to catch up, allow the body to heal, and just allow it to integrate what it just moved through without feeling the need to keep pushing and keep healing and keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper, and then allow it to do its thing because it knows what it's doing. It's so wise, it's so powerful. And I think that's something that I had to learn, and I have been guided to tell more and share more with the world. Like, this is actually how it works. You don't have to also manipulate and control your healing as well.
Because your body is the home for the subconscious mind.
Literally,
I've never actually thought of this. Like, I know that, but I've never made this connection before. That's why my hand shot up so much to be like, oh my gosh, I just like put together all these things of your body is so wise because that's where your subconscious mind lives.
It's literally everything. It's like your nervous system, your subconscious, like everything is within you, and it's like your programming, your belief system. So yeah, it's like being able to actually trust in that is so fucking like powerful.
Exactly. And we're so used to like consciously working our way through everything and consciously healing and making intentions and doing all of this. But when you tap into your body and you tap into that subconscious mind and you allow yourself to passively heal, not saying that actively and consciously healing isn't also important. It does play a huge role in your healing and spiritual journey. But when you can trust yourself to passively heal as well, that's that surrender aspect, and working with the subconscious mind is going to get you so much further.
And this happened, like, remember you took me through, I cannot remember what passive regression it was, but you took me through a passive regression, and it was like in the midst of a quantum crumble. It was like the end of 2022. I was having like the worst time of my life within my nervous system, within my body, within everything. And I remember you took me through a passive regression, and I cannot for the life of me remember what the intention was, but I think it was like feeling like closing myself off to support and closing myself off to other ways that things can work out for me. And I remember like days after that passive regression, things just started to naturally shift. Like, I remember just being in my kitchen making my cereal or my porridge or whatever it was, and like just naturally sending a voice note to Maggie being like, just for even forgetting like the past life regression that we went through, and like these things coming through, and Maggie was like, you have just passively shifted that, and look what you're saying. Like, I think it was like, actually, you know what? Like, I don't need to, like, this doesn't need to be the one way. Like, I don't need to hold on to this opportunity. Actually, I can open myself up to other ways, other more aligned ways that things can work out for me, and not holding on so deeply to like the struggle of things. And it was just like a natural like cracking of things.
Yeah. And it's that idea too. Like, I always tell people that spiritual healing is not the work of the mind, it's the work of the body, because as Maggie mentioned, your subconscious mind, which is your consciousness, lives within your body. So that's why so often we feel things, we'll feel urges, like your intuition, your spirit lives within your being. And yes, of course, we have energy in our minds as well. But when you want to tap into the subconscious, you have to tune into the body, because that's exactly where it lives. And I always remind people whenever I'm doing Reiki that, and I do this before anytime I channel or anytime I do things where I'm connected to my spirit, I ask my ego to step aside, because it's so often our ego that will taint our ability to truly let go. Your mind has so many attachments to certain things and certain energies. It believes that certain things keep you safe. But if you can get your mind out of the way, your energy knows exactly what it's meant to do. I mean, if you look at animals like in nature, just in the wild, that's how this human species is much different to other animals, is we have a very developed ego that attaches itself to things. And instead of us just releasing things in the present moment, we have a mind that attaches beliefs to energies. And so that's why we cling to the energies. But if you look at an animal in the wilds, they will go and like be in a state of fight or flight when they notice a predator is chasing them. And then 20 minutes later, they're going to be back in a state of rest and digest because they don't have a mind that is clinging on to, oh my God, is it still there? Is it still there? Is it still chasing me? Like, no, they have the ability to, after being in a state of fight or flight, they recognize that they are no longer being chased. So they release that energy and then they shift back into a state of rest and digest because their body knows that that would not be beneficial to stay in a state of rest and digest. But the human species, once again, is much different. Our minds have developed in ways that they are great at clinging to things. They're great at creating thought patterns and conditioning. And so the act of passive healing, and if passive healing doesn't serve you, find a term that feels good. Spiritual healing, healing of your energy, whatever it is. It's just this idea that your energy, your spirit is going to release and do whatever it needs to do as long as you can get your mind out of the way or on board. So like before I do Reiki with a person, I often find that Reiki or just somatic healing practices, past life regression, breath work, all these things are great in addition to the mindset work, the thought work that you do. And you can do them at the same time. You can do Reiki first, and then you can notice that, oh my God, all of a sudden I start to release these things just naturally. And that's because your energy, your vibration is elevating so that those things that are a lower vibration just no longer align. So you'll just notice yourself, as Sophie was saying, like waking up and being like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Just having these random like ideas come into mind that are different than what she was thinking of days prior to that past life regression is because her energy is now in a different state. And whenever we're healing, we're doing the work of getting our mind, our body, and our soul on the same path, on the same elevation. So yeah, passive healing is the energy of raising your vibration so that your mind and your body then have to rise as a result, because there's already one thing that's up there. Now everything else just has to rise too.
And I think it's important to like note that we're not saying like if you do a passive regression, just stop healing. Like that should, everything else will be like passive for you. Stay consistent with your healing practices and coming into yourself and devoting to yourself, but know that it doesn't need to come from the place of I got to keep healing, I got to keep peeling back the layers, I got to keep shifting. Like allow your body to do its thing. Right now, as we record this, we're at the end of our Aura Elevation Challenge of like the winter, like January, February round. And I was talking to one of the girls who are in it, and obviously she was kind of like jumped right into doing a lot of healing within Aura Elevation, within my membership, within other spaces that like it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And I'm like, just take a step back, like allow your body to integrate everything that you have just moved through, everything you've experienced. Like we've just done passive regression, we've done Reiki, we've done EFT tapping, we've done meditation, like you've done breath work. Like that is so much, and your body has to catch up with you. Your body has to allow things to actually integrate and shift. So like not feeling like your healing is a race, like you're not in a competition, you're not racing, like you don't have to keep healing, go fast. Like take your time, trust the pace of your healing. And if your ego does step up and step in and your mind steps in and you think that you have to keep going with it, then just like what Harley said, like I'm just going to put you to the side and know that I get to just like take a step back and allow this to just move through me.
Because we need to like allow ourselves to integrate. It's like the same as plants. Like you wouldn't plant a seed and water it and then look the next day and be like, oh, this plant is a failure because it has not grown. Like you need time to integrate. You need seasons of this like rebirth and to like come back. And, you know, like a tree loses its leaves. Like you need these moments to just integrate and to heal without having to grow at the same time. And I think we are so used to this like instant gratification that the idea of this passive healing, of showing up for a Reiki session or passive regression or whatever, and just like vibing and allowing your body to do what it needs to do and being like, wow, that was a great experience. And then not having to be like, and now what do I do with this afterwards? I mean, sometimes with something like Reiki or past life regression, you will be given action steps. Things will come up for you. That's not saying that it's never the case, but you also just have to allow that clarity that came through to just settle and to be. I've even had people in past life regressions, and I know myself within Reiki, like every single time I swear I do Reiki with Carly, my soul goes peace and I leave. And it's like, I'm not sleeping. It kind of feels like I'm sleeping, but I know I'm not sleeping. I just like melt into this nothingness. And I will not even hear what Carly is like saying. She's like bringing you through this meditation and this beautiful thing. And like, I'm not even hearing it. And I could come out of that being like, oh no, I fell asleep, even though I don't really think I am, but like I fell asleep or I did this, and think I didn't get what I needed to from it, but my body knew exactly what it was doing. And it's the same thing with past life regression. Sometimes people experience the same thing where they feel like they may have fallen asleep or fallen into this like really deep state and didn't really experience much. And I'm like, that's because your body was like, you don't need to think your way through this. You don't need all the answers. You just need to get out of your own way. And I just love knowing that I have the trust in myself, in my body, in energy, in spirit, in the universe, that I can have this moment of just complete surrender and bliss, and I get to integrate and heal from that. I think that's a really powerful belief to have, rather than then getting frustrated that you missed out on something or that it didn't work for you, because your body knows exactly what to do. So you just healed. And then what you're doing is telling yourself that you can only heal if it's hard, if you put in a lot of work, if you dig in really deep. And what kind of belief is that to have, to believe that healing has to be difficult and that healing has to be such effort, when instead you can say, I know how to heal myself. My body, my soul knows how to heal itself, and it gets to be easy. It gets to be relaxing, and healing gets to feel good. Like, who doesn't want that? You know what I mean?
I love that. I'm really, really glad that you said that. And I feel like the people that are listening will probably be like, I needed to hear that. So like if you have been, like you are on your healing journey and you have been kind of, it's been coming from that place of this, like obviously there's going to be a level of discomfort in ways in which you heal, because you're going to be leaning into your fears, leaning into uncomfortable emotions that are within your subconscious, within your body, that want to be liberated, that want to be released. So there are going to be times where it is uncomfortable and there's going to be moments of discomfort. But I think it is important to recognize that it doesn't have to be so hard. And there's times where you get to just like allow your ego to step aside, allow your logical mind to step to the side, and allow your subconscious to just relax into the practices, relax into the meditations, into the passive regressions, into the hypnosis, into the Reiki, into the sound healing as well. And I feel like those, especially if you do have like a kind of like ego, or you feel like your ego does step in, or you feel like you do come from a maybe more wounded place, and you're kind of taking your healing action, your healing practices from that space, maybe it is like doing more of these types of practices so that you can, train your body or train your mind to step to the side and allow your healing to become something that does feel good, something that isn't instilled or run from a belief of it has to be hard, this has to be hard, this has to come from a place of always doing, always pushing, because that is obviously a disempowering belief that we've been given that isn't actually serving our healing journey or just our lives in general. So just being aware of like, where you may be operating from that windy place within your healing journey as well, and can you maybe lean into your practices, lean into these modalities from a place of, okay, I trust the healing that happens within my experience here is exactly what I'm meant to experience in days, hours, weeks, months after this practice. My body will continue shifting. I will continue healing, even if I'm not actively doing more and more and more.
I feel like you also, like, I would love for us all to just take a moment to recognize that this human experience, as long as you are living, you will always be growing and evolving. And maybe you even want to remove the word of healing, just allowing yourself to like rise and expand, because passive, you can even see it as like passive expansion,
I like the
passive.
word like natural as well, like
Yeah.
natural evolution. Like it's just like natural, like it's just natural.
Yes, it is. And like, it's not necessarily anything that you have to force. And it's something that will occur naturally as long as you are alive. And I'm sure everyone that is listening to this is spiritually awakened, meaning that you have no choice. We have all spiritually awakened for some reason. And so this will be a lifelong journey of expanding and rising and discovering what feels good. And what I love to do when it comes to passive healing is just allow myself to tap more into things that allows me to get out of my own way. Because oftentimes what places us into a state of, oh, this should be this way or whatever it is our expectations and our ego once again telling us, oh, it should have gone this way, or oh, I should be doing this or that. But if you notice yourself getting into that energy of, oh, it should be a certain way, and you're feeling the resistance, then do something that allows you to get out of your own way. I love grabbing a good book, like a good nonfiction book, and just reading. I love cooking. I love going for a nice chill walk. I love having deep conversations with friends, just anything that allows me to shift out of the energy that I've been stuck in and take my mind out of the equation so that my spirit and my energy can do whatever it needs to do to support me. And then maybe after I've spent that time away from the thing and I revisit it, I notice that it shifted, or I'm just there with a higher awareness and higher perspective, and I know what needs to be done. I also actively tune into my energy, because it is our feelings and our emotions that are our spiritual guidance system. Your feelings and your emotions are your subconscious, your intuitive body, your spiritual body, sharing with you what it is that feels good and what doesn't feel so good. So if you lean into your feelings and your emotions for guidance, they will let you know how you're doing, and they will let you know what you need. Of course, it's like learning that language. It takes time. When I first started to connect to my feelings and emotions, I had no freaking clue what they meant. So it's like learning a new language, right? You have to be patient with yourself, but there's no rush, once again, as we've all been saying, because this is a journey of life. Now that you are spiritually awakened, this is a beautiful evolution and expansion of the soul that just gets to happen over the course of this human experience. We really came here to be conscious creators and expanders. And so the process of passive healing or spiritual evolution is the process of living and truly living, not just in the mind, but in the body and in the physical and the spiritual and the mental and all aspects, and just tuning into, all right, when does something need to shift? And when does something no longer feel good? Like, I know it's time for me to evolve or shift or tackle something when I'm feeling weird again, or I'm just feeling like a bit out of sorts. Then I'll reach out to someone and I'll be like, hey, can I have assistance? Or I'll lean into Reiki, or I'll do a meditation, or there's so many free resources out there that can support you too when you need it. Like, we're going to be creating some free resources here. But yeah, it's that recognition that you are always expanding and evolving and growing. It's just a part of the human experience.
I love what you're saying, Carly, because I think like when you boil down everything that we're saying and everything, especially that Carly just said, it's like, yes, you can do these like spiritual sessions, you can tap into Reiki, you can do all of this stuff that can feel very like woo woo and like, ooh, but when you boil it all down, to allow yourself to passively heal and for your body to take over and just like do what it needs to do, you just need to really get present. That's the easiest thing you can do, is just ground yourself into the present moment. Because if you are just actively in the present and you're not thinking about where your energy was and where it needs to go and where you've been and where you need to go and all of this, and you're just present, then it allows your body to just do whatever it is that you need to do. It allows yourself to just be, and your energy to just be and be exactly how it's meant to. It sounds so simple, but I think that's what it like really, really all boils down to here.
Okay, well, to wrap up, I think Carly's already given some of her like practices that she stays present in. So I'll give you two of my practices, and Maggie, you can maybe give a practice as well that supports you in being present and allowing any passive healing to happen, so that you're not so focused on like what you need to do or how, like what happens next. You can just be present in the moment with yourself and allow that, all of that magic and wisdom and healing to integrate. And I love dancing. You guys know, a lot of people know, like I just love dancing, and sometimes I use that as an actual healing practice, but sometimes I just put it on and vibe out with myself and be present with myself and enjoy the music and just vibe. And I'm also really enjoying reading as well. That's something that I've been getting into this past year as well, like just disconnecting, coming into a book, getting lost in a book, and just putting on music, putting on candles, and just breathing in that kind of relaxation, that grounding, that presence with that kind of moment. So that's something that I do to kind of be present with myself, and even just going a walk as well, like literally being out in nature, like that is healing too, but like you just being so present outside. And yeah, Maggie, what's yours?
Yeah, I would say a lot of what you guys have tapped onto. There's something you can do if you just feel yourself getting out of the present moment, which is to just note something from all your senses. So, like, what can you smell? What can you see? What can you hear? What can you touch? All of that. Just to name these things and ground yourself into the present moment. Another thing that seems so silly, but I say it all the time, is to just like put your phone away and actively watch a TV show or movie. Like, put your full attention into it, because then you're doing something that's relaxing, you're doing something that is joyful and entertaining, and your body just gets to do whatever it needs to do, and you're comfortable. Like, the most important thing is that you're comfortable and you're relaxing. But I was just going to take a moment to end off the episode to just invite you all into the present moment, to invite you all into something, just take a look around. What can you see, hear, smell, feel, taste, all of that? Name just one thing. Let's ground ourselves into the moment. And let's just take some deep breaths here and just allow ourselves to get into the moment, get into the body. So just a few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Giving yourself a little shake. And now tapping back into those things. What can you see, hear, smell, taste, feel? Just one thing of each, and grounding yourself into this moment here. And know that you're already doing enough. You know exactly what you need to do. Your body knows exactly what it needs to do, so trust it. Trust yourself to just be in this moment, and that everything's happening for you. Everything's getting done. But with that being said, we're going to wrap it up today. If you haven't already, give the podcast 5 stars. Send this to someone who you think needs to slow down a little bit, maybe. Who you think needs to trust themselves to know that they're already doing enough. They're growing. They're healing. They are already enough. And we will see you next week for another episode. All right. Bye.
Bye.